What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Wednesday wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors. All County Exteriors is a third-generation, premier exterior home remodeling company celebrating over 40 years in business. In a remodeling world where the average remodeling company only survives in business for only 5 years, All County Exteriors has stood the test of time, providing their customers with top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. They service homeowners and builders with anything from small repairs to large additions. All County Exteriors is not just limited to construction. They have a deep passion for giving back to their community and are charitable supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Porro, and this is Ryan Kulot.
What is going on, everyone? Hope you had another great week. Mike and I are coming at you with a unique episode. But before we do that, I want to tell you that today's guest is Chris DeJohn. Chris was the 2021 MGA Mid-Am champion, the 2023 Walter Travis Invitational champion, which was held at the prestigious Garden City Golf Club out on Long Island. He was recently a member of the victorious MGA team in the Carey Cup, which is the MGA taking on Golf Ireland, which is Ireland's amateur golf association. Chris was nice enough to host us at Arcola Country Club, so we sat down with him before our round and then went out and teed it up. So we're gonna talk about recap our trip to Arcola here, but make sure you stay tuned for our interview with Chris after. He's got some great stories about some international experiences that he had and his unique perspectives in his golfing journey. Mike, before we get to our time at Arcola, I just want to give a shout out real quick to Brian DeMarco, the head pro at Pine Barrens. They run an event there that is it's basically a pro member guest. They're teams of 3 that go down. They play Pine Barrens, and it's a great event. I know all the pros like playing in it. I've had friends who have played in it as well as members and or as guests, and they raise money for the New Jersey Golf Foundation for it, and that happened this past Friday. From what I heard, it was a very successful day. We were trying to get involved in it somehow and just weren't able to make it happen this year, but Brian DeMarco is a tremendous person, and I'm very thankful for him for working with us and trying to make it work, and a big shout out to him and what they do down there. So a big thank you to Brian and Pine Barrens for working with us, and hopefully we can make it work out next year. Now, Mike, let's get into our main topic. Arcola Country Club. I think that it would be understated if I said that you were giddy to play this place. I think that's a fair statement. We got up there, parked, beautiful view of the city. It was a little foggy in the morning. So you could see like the skyline was split in two with like the fog that was still lifting. That's how early we got there, but you could see it out in the distance. We go into this super old colonial building. We go upstairs, we sit down with Chris for over an hour. Then we go out and play. What are your first thoughts of the day?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when I got there early enough that I saw the sunrise over the city skyline from the parking lot, which was just like, wow. yeah, like to your point, it was a little foggy, don't get me wrong, but you could still see the skyline in a distance. So that right off the bat was like, okay, this is going to be everything that people have said it's going to be. And then, I guess let me backtrack even a little bit further. Like, yes, to your point, like hearing how many people have and what they had said to us about that place, it was a no-brainer for me to find us a way to get up there to experience that. And who better to sit down with than probably one of their top players there, if not probably the top player there. I'm sure other guys could create a little bit of an argument there, whether it's Trevor Randolph or others, but, being able to be there with Chris was just like an absolute grand slam to me. I mean, I don't know how you can put it any other way. And,
we have had so many people talk about Arcola that not everybody that we've interviewed, I don't want to over-exaggerate there, but it's more than 70% of the people are like, Arcola is a prime spot to get to. It's so good there. I mean, it held part of the USAM last year in 2022. It's been talked about, maybe not by us a ton this year, but by people who we've talked to that know golf have talked a lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think when you hear people talk about Arcola, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is it's the fastest greens in the state. It's the fastest greens in the state. And I say this nicely to all the amazing spots that we've played, but there is nobody that comes close to the speed of greens the way that place was. It's not even close.
No,
it's not even close. Because if you're above the hole on certain holes, it's game, set, match. You will not win. Okay, you will not win. Mm-hmm. There's clearly a lot of strategy that goes on at that golf course to knowing where to hit it, where to miss it, how to play it. Because if you just hit it in the wrong spot by a few yards, either too long or right or left, you're seriously looking at a double bogey, if not worse. Mm-mm. If not worse. And I was blown away with that because I think you hear people say, like, oh, greens are fast. And you're like, okay. And you kind of brush it off, like, all right, yeah, like fast. Okay, they're 12 in the stimp. Like, I get it. But this place, forget about it.
So we've played on greens that are rolling at 12, and we know that those roll fast and pure, right? We've played on greens like that. That's not, I wouldn't call that like comical or illegally fast. Those are running fast, but that's still doable. There's no chance these were under a 15. There's just no chance. It was like putting on glass. It really, people will be like, oh, the greens are fast there. No. Your glass then is fuzzy compared to this glass because it was comically fast. How light you hit a putt, and it just kept, you'd think like, okay, the ball's going to stop rolling. And then 15 feet later, it would stop. It would finally come to a stop. It just continued to tumble and tumble.
And that's if it stayed on the green.
Yeah. It was a real challenge, the putting serve, and not because it rolled true. You'd see the break, you knew what was going to do. It wasn't difficult in that realm as far as like tough to read the greens or anything like that. It was just they were so damn fast. They were so fast. Yeah. And I don't know how pros do it. I really don't, because that is it was illegal. I would not want to play those greens all the time, because that is, while it's a fun challenge, and maybe guys like Chris, that's their level of game, right? That's what they need for a challenge. That was too challenging for me. I had a blast that day. Don't want to take anything away. So much fun, but that's not something I would want to be a part of every time I played golf there. It was so damn hard.
It held true to exactly what
everything that everybody said. Yep,
greens were so fast. The views were unreal. I think when we got up to what was at the fourth green on the fifth tee box, and you saw the whole skyline, basically from the front to the back, you saw everything in the distance. Like, Like that view was stupid nice. There's no doubt I can see why, and even I think Chris brings it up in the interview, is about how they have one of the lowest indexes amongst all their membership in the whole country. Like you can see when I say like some golf courses are country clubs that have other things, like this place probably to some extent and maybe on a different level like Manasquan River, but it's just like the cream of the crop, Northeast Jersey, like they are low indexes with a lot of scratch golfers that this suits them.
And we do talk about that in the interview. This is it 100% is. And I think he even said that it's the lowest, if not one of the lowest in the country, because it's and they keep the course that way. They know they have stud players, they know they need to be challenged, and they keep the course that way, and they're keeping the course in a you need to rise your game. We're not going to dumb it down for like the mass of our population, because the mass of their population is scratch. That's just what it is. I mean, it was what did he call it? A golfer's golf club. Like you got to be a really good golfer to play there. They don't have anything else. It's a clubhouse, pro shop, golf course. There's no tennis or
beautiful
shooting
driving range.
Yeah,
Beautiful driving range.
It's beautiful in all of those regards, but it's not your typical country club where it has the swimming pool, tennis, pickleball, paddle tennis, whatever else they have there. It's just a golf club, and it is a golfer's golf club.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the only, and not only were the greens fast, they were also firm, because I think you and I made a comment about that multiple times on the golf course about how hard the greens were, but they were receptive to where if you hit a good shot in there, it wasn't like it catapulted off the green and went over. It still bounced and checked and spun and did everything that like normal, hard, firm, and fast greens do. So that, to Chris's point, kind of validated what he was saying. Like, if you hit good shots, you're going to be rewarded.
Right, if you need to step your game up to play there. And a guy like Chris who needs a challenge in order to continue to sharpen his game, knowing that you got to flight something in low and have it spin, you must make it spin, because if it doesn't spin, it's going to skip, and off the green. But if you're able to spin it and you're able to hit the golf shot that's needed, the green is receptive enough to take it. While it's going to punish you for missing it, but it's gonna accept it if you do it right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the golf course was in great shape, except it was a little unlucky, I'd say, for us the time of the year that we're playing it, that they were aerating all the fairways, and I think it looked as though they were doing it like as we were playing, which made it visually like probably not as pleasing as others may have seen it in the past. But the greens weren't plugged at all, so they were rolling obviously true and fast. But the fairways, it literally seemed like at times to me when we were walking, like they were just plugging in directly in front of us.
Yeah, there was a couple times where they had those, like the shotgun shell kind of things all around, where it's like, oh, they just did this and they still need to come back and sweep them away because the fairway's just loaded with them. There are plenty of times where we hit into that and just gotta move them, brush them away. So aesthetically that hurt it, because it's not the green that's going to pop when the whole fairway's brown, because all of the, again, those gauges are there. That's going to be tough for it. So, it was definitely a beautiful setup, right? If you take that away, I loved everything else about it, right? It was a great course. Greens were wonderful. It was, again, just unfortunate timing with that aeration.
Yeah, and I would say when thinking about the golf course, like 4's green to 5's tee box was probably the best combo on the front nine for me thinking about it. And then I just thought the walk up 18 with the clubhouse in a distance, a challenging dogleg right par 4, like up the hill. Again, those were two spots on the golf course that when I step back and think about a place I needed to have like a little recognition, something that like sticks out and stands out. And to me, like those are the two spots on that golf course, minus the greens, that really like kind of like peeked its head and said, like, look at me. I thought that was pretty cool, those two spots.
Between 4 and 5, right? 4 and 5 and then 18. Yeah, I really liked the going away from the clubhouse. I thought 10 was a great golf hole. 11 is nice stonework over the pond there, but our caddy had said that sometimes the water level gets too high at 11, so they use another par 3 there that's not really a par 3. It's kind of behind the green on, was that 16? Yeah, I think it was 16, because then we went 17. Yep, so behind 16 there. I thought that was so cool that they have this like other par 3. It's a beautiful looking par 3. Good little rock wall, kind of
Cool
keeping the
green.
fairway. Cool looking green with like funky bunker that like if you get unlucky you can miss in like a almost like a finger kind of area there. So really some nice parts to that course. I did like 18 coming up and seeing the clubhouse in the background. And the thing I thought about 18 that you didn't really get on like 9 coming to the clubhouse, you got all the clubhouse on 18. You got kind of the left side that you see in the driveway coming up. Like I guess that's where like the restaurant is and the outdoor dining and that kind of thing. You don't really get a good angle of that coming on 9. And on 18, you also then get like the pro shop and the stuff to the right of it. So I thought it was a beautiful view as well. And I thought it was a great golf hole. There were, the big green, receptive green, bunkers are placed right in good spots. It's a really good finishing hole.
Yeah, and same thing. I mean, I thought number 3, like that little par 4, that second shot kind of like into that uphill. You got all those bunkers that are surrounding there. Like, I thought that was another cool spot when I think about the golf course. But, like, listen, I see what all the hype is about that place. Mm-hmm. I see what they say in terms of how fast the greens are and the city and the skyline out in the distance. The practice area was phenomenal. They had a little chipping area. The range was amazing. All grass range.
All grass, big and like not huge like Matita Conch huge, but clearly it's all grass. They got what seemed like 20 yards of depth, so they could put it so you're always hitting off fresh grass, and it was fairly long as far as like how many stalls, quote unquote stalls, you could have people hitting balls. Again, we didn't use it, but looked like some good bunkers. Looked like where you could practice from greenside from. It really good practice facility there too, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all in all, it was a great day. Perfect weather. I mean, you're not going to get many fall days that are as nice as it was out there when we played it.
Not at all. That was a summer day. We played it in the fall, in October, late October, but it was a summer day.
Yeah, I mean, listen. A great experience, up there. And I think that's another reason why when we say, like, golfing in the Garden State, you're getting a little bit of everything. That's just another vindication of what we say. And it validates it again because you got the city right there. You got the skyline. You got the up and down. You got everything there. And it's another diamond that we have here in New Jersey.
Absolutely. Yeah, it held up to its hype. Everybody's talked about it. It was really great. It really was. All right, so that's going to end it for Mike and I here. Arcola, if you get the invite, go take it up. Really wonderful experience. We're going to keep our Arcola theme here running because we got to sit down with Chris DeJohn for over an hour. We're going to send you to that interview now. So here it is. Enjoy.
George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. George Wall Ford is a 23-time President's Award-winning store, the most prestigious customer satisfaction award a Ford dealer can receive. This golfing family knows what's best from the rest. So make sure you stop in the showroom today to see their surplus of different cars, SUVs, trucks, and more. Or visit them at www.georgewall.com. There isn't a better place to shop. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs. All right, so today's guest is the 2021 MGA Mid-Am champion. This year alone, he's also won the Walter J. Travis Invitational. He was part of the victorious team at the Carey Cup over Team Ireland. He's also partnered with fellow Arcola member Travis Randolph to win the prestigious Anderson Memorial 4-ball at Wingfoot. Today's guest is Chris DeJohn. Chris, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, Ryan and I talked a lot coming into this second season of ours, is sitting down more in person with people as much as we can to talk to them about their story. So, being here at Arcola and getting to see what this place is about is going to be a real treat for us. So why don't you give the audience a little bit of a background about you, about, you growing up in the game, playing, at a very, very high level to kind of where you are today.
Sure. So I grew up in Central Connecticut. My family was members at TPC River Highlands, where they play the Travelers Championship.
Nice.
So I was fortunate. Yeah, it was great. Very fortunate to be able to grow up playing there. And my dad had a club in my hand at a young age. I think I started swinging when I was 4. But I played baseball and hockey mostly growing up. I played golf casually for most of my childhood. And then I started playing more competitively when I stopped playing baseball in high school, and then started to really develop a passion for it. Started playing AJGAs, stuff like that. Nothing at a crazy high level. Had a little bit of success there, and then I decided to stop playing hockey and play golf in college. I went to Skidmore College in Saratoga, New York, which is, was at the time a top 10 Division III program, and had been really solid in the national NCAAs for we've been going for like 25 years, something like that. So had a good career there. I won, I think 12 or 14 times over my 4 years.
Simple.
Which,
simple.
Yeah.
Nothing to that.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was a lot of fun. We had a great team, crazy coach. There's a lot of stories there I could probably dive into, and my college buddies would really enjoy. I'll probably get to that in a second. But we had a good team. I like I said, I had some success, and whether some events won days because of the weather or whatnot, but was still able to edge out quite a few over my 4 years. And then I decided to turn pro when I graduated and give it a try. I packed up my car and just kind of drove out of my parents' house, drove down to Florida, crashed with a buddy for a little bit, and then got my own place and started playing the NGA Hooters Tour, and then Latin American Tour a bit, and kind of bounced around the mini tours for 5 years, and loved every minute of it for 3 years. And then after that, I was kind of like, well, am I gonna chase this forever? And
I was like, wait a second, did he just say 5 years? He loved it for 3 years.
I loved it for 3. And then had a few injuries, lower back injuries, which set me back, but overall, I kind of, the fourth and fifth year, I kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Still very much what I wanted to do, but didn't want to get kind of trapped into, limiting my options career-wise post-golf if that was the route I was going to take. So eventually I had met, early on in my pro career, I had met Charlie Schaefer, who is the founder of Grayson, which is company I work for now. And when I was kind of in limbo about whether or not I was going to keep playing, he was talking to me about starting Grayson, and he took a risk on me, and I kind of took a risk, joining the startup, and I've been with Grayson now for 9 years, and company's doing great, and it's been a It's been a wild ride, transitioning from trying to play and technically never having an official job to working for the same company for 9 years. So that's kind of my background with loose background with golf and how we got here.
Pretty stepping in the shit there.
Yeah.
I stepped in the shit.
Grayson, I swear, that's something that I bring up.
He drools over Grayson. Anytime
I do.
we talk about Grayson, you can see just like
My eyes
coming out
light
the
up.
side of his mouth.
Eyes light up.
He doesn't have pupils. He's got those stars in his eyes
Because
like cartoon
because to me,
characters.
like, obviously, I love the way it fits on me. To me, like, maybe it's a little.
I noticed you're not wearing it right now. Which,
Yeah, I know. I didn't wear it.
Fuck that one up.
Yes,
didn't
I
you?
fucked it up because I felt like I needed to wear my shirt here, even though like I love it. But like,
we'll have to get you some drop pod Grayson gear.
Listen, don't hesitate. I'd be wearing that fucking to bed at
he
this
would
point.
sleep in that.
But to me, like, I just like it the way it's cut, the way it fits, the way it looks, the material. For me, like, I compare everything to Grayson.
Yeah,
Like,
that's awesome.
yeah. So to me, it's like the best.
Top of the line.
Yeah, it is top of the line. But yeah, you fucking put drop podcasts on it, I'll be rocking that all day long. But, you know, and obviously going back to your college days, Skidmore, like, I played Division III golf too at the college in New Jersey, and we always, when we would get to, like, I think it was like the regionals aspect, Skidmore was always one of those teams that was traditionally, you knew that, like, I want to say when we ended up at, like, Hershey, when they had, like, the regionals out there, like, Skidmore was always the team that you had to find a way to get in front of because you guys always could play good golf. So,
What year did you graduate?
I graduated college in 2006.
Okay. So I graduated in 2010. So
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Missed each
You're a
other.
young buck. You're
Yeah.
a young buck. I'm pushing
I don't
40.
I don't feel
I'm
like it
pushing
anymore,
40. I'll be 40 in November, so it's
I'm going to be covered in CBD oil to go out and play with you guys today. So I certainly don't feel young these days.
You said are going to be. We both already are.
Already are. You
And
got
you'll
to
see.
prepare for the car ride.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, talking a little bit about like your game specifically, you know, I know guys of your level are always looking to win when you're out there because I think when I think about you guys, to me, like, you are unbelievable golfers. And, you know, I don't know, when you look at your season as a whole, do you step back and say, like, I had a good season, you know, from the playing side of it, or do you say, you know, I could have done better or I could have done this? Like, because I look at your results, you know, 2 T6s, T4, a couple wins, like Carey Cup victory. Like, is that something when you look at your season and you know, I guess, you know, trying to do the word. Evaluate. Thank you. Evaluate your season. How do you look at that?
So I'm a little bit more of a masochist than most. So I don't focus on my positives as much as I should. And I think that's one of my biggest downfalls mentally. But I think about, well, I'll just dive into the negatives. I think about the, I mean, really, like I think about, I mean, for US Mid-Am qualifying this year, I mean, I was like comfortably just breezing through, probably going to medalist, and then just kind of slowed down a little bit on the back nine, and then I had like a 30-yard pitch from the rough. All I had to do was hit the green and 2-putt, and I was in. I duffed into the bunker, and then hit a mediocre bunker shot and horseshoed the putt, and then lost in a playoff. And granted, with work, it actually worked out better because, I mean, being able to play in the US Mid-Am at Sleepy would have been great, but I would have had to reschedule a bunch of stuff. But like, I still think about how the hell can you not hit a green from 30 yards, you know? And then
I'll show you today.
and then you know, I still think back. We hosted the US Amateur with Ridgewood last year, and I was 11 under with 4 to play, and I bogeyed 2 of my last 4 holes and 3 putted from 20 feet on a par 5 for par, and I missed out by a shot. And I had to drive home from West Virginia that night thinking about it the whole ride home, and I still think about it, and I shouldn't, but that's just how I'm wired, and it fuels me in different ways to be better. I don't look at it completely as a negative. I feel like if you just sit around thinking about your positives all the time, you know, it may put you in a better mental situation, but I don't think you learn as much from it. and certain things that I've done negatively that I think about, I'll never do again. So I focus on some of my negatives more than I should, but I also try to learn a lot from them. So like going back to your initial question, I do overall look back on this year positively, but like I'd say over the past few years, so I got back into playing competitive golf in 2020. I got my amateur status back. The wonderful USGA hit me with 2-year wait, which they now have done away with. And I started getting into it and getting a taste for it. And then I really started developing a passion in 21, 22. And now kind of, I feel like I've put myself a bit on the scene, you know, making the French American team last year, the Carey Cup this year, and becoming great friends with a lot of the guys on the teams and the top players in the area. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's become a big part of my identity now, I would say. But looking back on the season, I got off to a great start. I played really well at the Coleman at Seminole. That was probably, I had my, probably should have said this earlier, but my wife and I welcomed our first child in January.
Congrats.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you, Leo. He's 9 months, and I want to say he was born on January 17th, and I think I got the email invite from the Coleman on like February 10th, and I didn't even blink. I just clicked yes because I was so excited to get the invite. And then I kind of tiptoed out of my office and looked at my wife. I was like, so I'm going to Florida in April for a week. It was like, I'll fly you down. I'll fly whoever you want down. Like, I want you to come, but I'm going. Is that okay?
I can just see you with the laptop in your office just coming out, like poking behind the door, be like,
And then is it okay? But I'm already going, so it's kind of like.
And she's very supportive. So she was like, no, you go, like, have fun. And it was an awesome week. And I fortunately played really well, and came in 6th, which gets me an invite back. So I'm looking forward to that. And then my next event was the Travis, which I obviously won, but it was a lot of rain, changed the format. It was a crazy weekend, but came out on top there and didn't really think I was playing great. I had one good round. And then the next week or 2 weeks after that, Trevor and I won the Anderson at Wingfoot, which is crazy.
Which is a big time tournament too. Like, my research on that thing was like, this is the cream of the crop.
I think it's,
any 4-ball, like this is the event.
It's the 4-ball, right? I mean, if there's, besides the US 4-ball, it's the Anderson. And I remember years ago when I didn't really know much about the amateur golf scene, like I still knew what the Anderson was. And a funny story from the Anderson. So Trevor and I are starting off on, because of the way the East course is routed, you start off on 11 and 1. So we're starting off on 11, which is I don't know if you've ever played Wingfoot East, but it's I think it's like 360 yards, but that's kind of as the fairway goes. It's more like a 340, 330 shot. So like for us, if you can like hammer one, you can almost get it up to the front edge of the green. I think it was, however it happened, Trevor had like 70 yards in and I had like 40, all right? And the green's gnarly, the pin was like the front right. And Trevor spins one off the front. I hit this like drop kick mediocre shot to like 20 feet past the flag, which is fucking dead. And we're just sitting there. He duffs it up there after that to like I don't know, maybe 15 feet. I putt my ball off the green because there's really like, you basically have to putt backwards to like keep it. So, and then I hit another crappy putt up that comes back to me. I make a double, and he barely struggles to make a bogey. So we have to cart a bogey on our first hole. And the next hole is a par 5 that I think we had to chip in for par, to cart a par. And our caddy at the time was looking at me, and I had never met him before, Max. He actually caddied for me in the Carey Cup at Wingfoot this week, nice. So it was awesome. But I was ready to just like mail it in. I was like, we're done here. Like I don't want to be here right now. Like I got work to do. Like this sucks. And then Trevor birdies the next hole, and we start getting some momentum, end up, carding a good round, and we make it to match play. We play well the next day, and then it just kind of all happened from there, and the game kind of came together, and that's the beauty of match play. After that, like 16 teams are all, starting off equal. And, we hit a lot of great shots and a lot of shitty shots, but we ended up edging it out. Yeah, it was an awesome week.
Does that winning that, you and Trevor winning that, does that get you into next year automatically, or is it still an invitation-based kind of process?
I'm pretty sure I don't know any of this for certainty.
Gotcha.
But Trevor's the one that has gotten the invite. So we didn't play last year, we played the year before, and we didn't make it to match play. And then I forget why we took last year off, but this year, like, he got the invite. And so I think when you win, you get a 5-year exemption.
Oh, nice.
I'm fairly certain if you're not an asshole and, you do the right things and you're professional in how you approach things.
They like you there.
They like you there. You're going to get an invite unless you lose your game and you're shooting, 95 every time you go. But
don't say anything, Mike.
Sorry. 95 is a great score, guys. So yeah, I think you kind of get an invite. You definitely, as long as you stay as a team, I think you pretty much get an invite for life. Nice. But
it's a good one to be invited to.
I could be wrong in that. And there's a senior division, which I'd love to be able to play in, in years to come. I mean, my name's on the board in gold paint, so.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, I was talking to, years ago, so Grant Sturgeon, our head pro here, is the absolute best, and he worked for Wingfoot for a long time. And, he used to talk, this year I got to spend a lot of time at Wingfoot. Before that, I've been there, 10 times, but it's such a special place, and that Nibs bar is so cool. And he always said, he's like, it's nothing cooler than getting your name in Nibs bar and gold paint. And I was like, yeah. And then after this year, I'm like, it's not up there yet. And the first thing I did when I got to Wingfoot for the Carey Cup was walked in the Nibs bar and looked for my name. So, I mean, I'm really excited for that to go up.
That's pretty cool. So let me ask you, you played Seminole to start your season, and then where was the Travis?
Garden City Golf Club.
Okay, and then you played Wingfoot. Those are your first 3 tournaments of this seaon?
And the following week was National Golf Links.
So it sucks to be you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your plight
Regardless
there.
of how good or bad you're playing. That's a nice stretch.
It's an unbelievable stretch, and honestly, you don't lose any appreciation for it while you're there, but I haven't thought about it the way you just phrased it in a long time, right? And honestly, when I was at National Golf Links playing in the singles, I was thinking, man, I'm fucking tired. And it's
not on one of the nicest pieces of property in America.
Well, I mean, it's funny. You play. I have played a pretty competitive schedule for the past 2 seasons, and I talked to Tilly about it recently. I talked to Costanza about it, and all of us, I think, are, especially now that I'm a dad, I'm gonna dial it back a little bit with events, because between work and family, I'm not a professional golfer, so and I'm no spring chicken, like I said. I mean, my back, my neck, everything fucking hurts. So, I mean, I'm thinking about, you think about it in the moment, you're like, I've just played 3 weeks in a row. I'm working, while I'm on the golf course. I mean, at any given moment, one of the ways that I'm fortunate with Grayson is I'll keep my phone in my back pocket for all of these events, and I'll write emails as I'm walking up the fairway. And one, it keeps me from falling behind on work. Anything that it needs a lot of attention that it can't be fixed via an email, I'll just flag and do it after the round. But anything else, short of taking a phone call in the middle of the fairway, I'm doing it, and that, one, gives me peace of mind that it's okay to be doing what I'm doing, and 2, it also takes my mind off some of the shots I'm hitting.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
If I hit a shot out to the right, I'm just fuck it, I work for a living.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm just gonna, I just block one into the trees. I'll just pitch out. I gotta write this email. And sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Mike and I talk about that with a lot of people in your shoes, with Tilly, with Costanza. We've talked to other people.
Yes,
Stu, we
Stu,
talked about this too. Your ability to play golf at such a high level while still balancing family, work, in that order, and then maybe golf is next unless you got something else. How do you find time to practice? What are you doing to do that? And then I'll add this caveat to it. It's late October. You live in the Northeast. How are you doing it over the winter?
And I will say this before you even answer. Like, that question that Ryan just asked is probably the one thing that I always hear on the side. Mike, can you ask them how they balance it all while still playing golf at such a high level?
For me, I mean, I have an amazing wife. She's really easygoing. I mean, obviously the Leo has thrown a little bit of a wrench in like time management and being able to practice. But for me, before our son was born, I'm an early riser. So like my whole life, I don't sleep. Like I don't need more than 5 or 6 hours. I'll wake up
My type of guy.
at 5
That's my type of
a.m.
guy. I was up at 4 a.m. this morning, jogging.
So was I. I was up at 4.
See, that's my type of guy, dude.
Hold on. Were you up at 4 or were you up at 3:55?
Well, the alarm went off at 3:55.
Right, he was on the road at 4:05.
Yeah, that's aggressive.
To start running.
I've done it before, though. I mean, to run?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't even run when I'm chased.
Is that often?
No, not often. So I don't fucking run. Getting myself in the gym is hard enough. Let alone, I should be running, but that's a whole nother issue that I don't feel like diving into at the moment. But to go back to your question, so like getting up early, I don't do it as much as I used to because of Leo, but like I would come over here, especially when I was, fortunate 5 years ago to join Arcola, like, especially since we moved out of the city, I'll drive over here and hit balls for like an hour first thing in the morning. It's changed a little bit as I've gotten older because I don't see the benefits as much and my body breaks down a little bit more, but I've always been a range rat. And pretty much everything. I could practice for 2 hours and go home, which I do. I don't play Arcola as much as you would think. I probably played here 10 or 12 times this year, but I've been here probably 60 times. And I'll come here for an hour or 2 hours, and I'll just, I'll hit balls for 45 minutes. I work on my short game a lot. And I feel like that's part of my game that's like ever evolving. I mean, one season to the next, I can hit a pitch shot just totally different. And I'm just like, if I take 3 weeks off, I'll show up and I'm like hitting a different kind of pitch from here than I would have 3 weeks ago. I don't know. That's something I fuck around with a lot. And yeah, so like, how do I manage it? When I find time, like, I live 7 minutes from here, so like for me to just hop in the car and come over here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, hit balls for an hour, and still be home for dinner, it's pretty easy, and I do that quite a bit. Like I said, my wife's super easy, so like on a Saturday morning, if I just want to hop over here for an hour, like I'm just gonna hit balls, and I hit balls for 40 minutes, hit 15 chips or pitches, and like some bunker shots, and I go home, or what I do a lot now that we have a son is I'll come over here, like I said, at like 4 or 5 o'clock, practice for a few hours, grab dinner here to hit the minimum and bring it home, And then in the winter time, last year was the first year I did anything. So I started working with Jason Birnbaum at Manhattan Woods.
He works with Up and Jack Wall.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
I've talked to him a couple times.
So he's been great, and I started working with him last July. I was hitting it like shit. It was a Thursday afternoon. I went and met with him. We made these little tweaks, and the next day I came out and I won the Arcola Cup. And
that was a good one.
Yeah,
a good one.
Yeah, I've won that twice. I didn't win this year, but another Xavier Daly, another Arcola guy, won it. So we kept it at the club.
Kept it home.
But yeah, I came out. I was playing with my buddy Pat Wilson. I'm on the committee for the Arcola Cup, so we had a favorable pairing, and we had a good time. I came out, and I don't think I've hit it that good in years, and still, that was probably one of my best ball striking rounds that morning. I didn't miss hit a shot, and I didn't work with Jason until after that, until I want to say like November. And I worked with him about 5 or 6 times over this winter, making some more substantial changes. And it was a lot. And honestly, I started hitting it like shit because I was overdoing what we were working on. And I called him and was like, I need an emergency lesson. Like, this is a Monday morning. I'm getting on a plane on Tuesday to go to the Coleman. I was like, dude, I'm hitting hooks, like snap hooks. And went down there, got on a plane, went down there, like literally get out of the car. I'm driving to the range. I'm like, I don't know if I'm about to be shanking it on the range of Seminole right now. Like, I don't know how I'm going to hit it. And hit it fairly decent, made a bunch of birdies in the 9-hole practice round, and went out the next morning to practice round, shot 65. And I was like, fuck. And then I hit it great all week. And then like I said, I went into, right after that, I went into 2 wins. And it's kind of amazing how fast I've noticed like my game can just turn around. And it's been great. I've worked with him a few times since then and planning on working with him a bit more this winter. But I don't play golf in the winter. I might go down to Florida once or twice max. If we had a learning center here, I would use that a lot. But I don't. Like at the end of this year, I found out a bunch of the Arcola guys were going over to this, like every Monday night, this simulator place and playing every week. And I was like, shit, I wish I knew. I would do it. So I might do a little bit more this year, but yeah, honestly, I don't do really anything over the winter.
I'd imagine someone who plays your schedule so competitive for so long, basically, you said April you went down to Seminole.
Yep.
Till just this week. That's a long season, so a time off is probably needed and welcomed.
I'm honestly cooked.
Yeah.
I mean, my neck's been bothering me for about a month. I didn't play much golf. I withdrew from the Met Mid-Am this year because I tried to play golf at the Farrell, and I struggled. I was hurt, and I really just wanted to rest up for the Carey Cup. I think it speaks, to how awesome an event and the camaraderie and how much all of us care about playing in these MGA team events, because I think I was 10th in the points, and I don't really care about the points. Like, I don't like study it and whatnot, but I keep an eye on it because I don't want to have to qualify for anything. And I think I'm currently 10th on the points list, which gets me exempt. But I had to withdraw from the Met Open mid-tournament.
Which was here.
I
was going to ask you the reason why, because even sometimes when I see that, I don't obviously know what's going on. I'll check the scorecard because sometimes I know when guys aren't playing well, it's like, all right, now I have a real job. I might as well just go work instead of butchering it. But you weren't playing bad.
No, I wasn't playing great, but
but you weren't. It wasn't like
it was.
It wasn't like 95.
So we had
Whoa, easy.
Yeah, we had a little scare with my son. My wife called me. He was getting sick for an extended period of time, and she was struggling with it, and so we had to take him to the emergency room. So it turned out to be fine. He just had a stomach bug, but it was scary there for a minute. And there's more important things than golf.
No doubt.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Going back to what we said a couple minutes ago.
Which in hindsight, all I had to do was finish the tournament, and I would be in 7th in the points. All I had to do was play in the Met Mid-Am, and I'd be inside the 10. I just love bubbling myself. But going back to that, I withdrew from the Met Mid just because I didn't want to let the team down and have to withdraw or be injured for the Carey Cup. So definitely wanted to do that.
So I always like to one of our earlier guests in April said, you should do some digging on some of the guys and come up with some things about each guy. And, I think it's, as long as it's, I said, as long as it's appropriate, I'm not looking to dive into dirty secrets. So I did text Tilly last night.
Oh, fuck.
And I said, can you give me something? I'm sitting down with Chris tomorrow. Can you give me something? And he wouldn't give me anything. Said like, great guy, good golfer, you'll have fun. I said, all right, well, that struck out there. So I said, I'm going to text Costanza. Let me see if I can get something out of him. Well, he just texted me. And here's what he said. He said, I need to ask you about the real Frenchman at Quaker Ridge.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So what's that about?
Okay. So last year, French American matches. The Ligue des Paris is who are the French teams, so we are apparently this is my first international team for the MGA. Apparently we had not beaten or we hadn't won against the French in like 20-something years.
Wow.
They just kicked the shit out of us. Apparently they have like, there are 4 women on their team are like basically LPGA Tour players that just like never turned pro. And it's just like, they're sick. I mean, we just played the Irish. We had a good time with them. Not so great in some aspects with the French. Hard to believe, right? Yeah. So Christian Cavalieri, who's a good buddy of mine, I've known him for a long time. He interned at Grayson in the early days. He's my partner in the foursomes and 4-ball. And so we're 1 up in the afternoon, and we're playing these 2 guys, one of which I'm not generally a big fan of, and still am not, and you'll hear why. So it's pitch black. I mean, I'm just gonna get this right out in the beginning. Like
you can see that he's walking slowly in terms of what he's trying to say, without just bluntly coming out and saying it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that in hindsight I was in the right or Christian, but we did fuck them over unintentionally. It was just kind of like a team thought. But anyways, so I could barely see on the 17th green. I had like 8 feet for birdie to win the match, and I just miss it. And we're walking to we're the last group out. We're walking to the 18th tee. You can't see fucking shit. I mean, it's pitch black. And we all decide we're going to finish, right? And I admit that right now. Like, we all said we're going to finish. I blocked my drive way fucking right, which it didn't feel like it was that far right, but in hindsight, we found it on the last 3 seconds, and it was right. And everyone, all the guys, team members, everyone was like, dude, you said you were in the right rough. Like, this is the right fucking trees. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I couldn't see shit. And Christian's down the middle, and so are both of them. So they hit with their teammates holding a flashlight up to their ball, which we haven't gotten an answer on this from anyone, but I'm pretty sure it's fucking illegal. So we're the last to hit, and our captains come up and like, do you want to hit? And I was like, well, I can't see anything, but like you don't have to hit. So Christian and I are like, all right, so we won't hit, and we don't think anything of it. Well, these kids are up on the green. We're delayed walking up. We mark our ball, and everyone's on the green, and they're fucking flipping out. Like, every French player screaming, we're pieces of shit, like in our face. Like, it's elevating, you know? And so this one guy is like acting like a total asshole. And he's marking his ball, he's videoing his line like he's gonna go home and studying it. It's like, hey man, like, grow the fuck up. And he screams, he's like, I'm gonna show you tomorrow what a real Frenchman is. And we're just like, cool man, like, have a nice night, you know? And so that was kind of the story, but it was, we fucked them over a bit, but we were in our right to do it. It was just kind of a little shitty on the tee box when we all agreed to it. But like, it definitely, their captain and their coach and their captain came out, and they were getting into it with the MGA, and it was it definitely made for an interesting dinner with all of us. We weren't having dinner with them, but our team was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, I don't know. But either way, we came out the next morning, and
did he make the putt?
He 2-putted, But Christian and I both fucking 3-putted, and we lost the hole to have the match, which honestly, in hindsight, it all worked out really well because what's the word I'm looking for? De-escalated the situation, and we went out and smoked them in singles and ended up winning, and it just made it that much better. Yeah. But it probably to your listeners didn't sound like that entertaining of a story, but it was pretty fucking hysterical in the moment. Like, it was one thing. Like, honestly, I would have almost like felt bad if he wasn't acting like such a tool. Like, it was just like, all right, man, grow up. Like, yeah. Anyways. That's the story.
Were you paired up with him in singles?
No.
That would have been.
No, I was. He played Matt Matari, I think, the next day. But no, that would have been great. If either Christian and I were paired with him. I think Christian played the other kid in the group, but he wasn't. He was acting, fine. It was this one dude that was, yeah.
So when it comes to like these international events, is obviously since we've kind of dived a little bit into that, and I like to like do my research and follow it and see what's going on, and always seem like I'm a fan from the outside. Like, obviously you mentioned that women playing it as well. Like, how are the teams selected? Is it 4 men and 4 women? Is it 6 and 2? Is it kind of like how, or is everything different?
No. It's both teams are 6 men, 4 women, and it's based off of the current year's points, or if you want to call it points, your performance in the current year and the previous year. So, and then that's what it generally is. And then the committee, obviously, and the captains have a say. Mm-hmm. I'd say the first 3 men and 2 women are basically locked in based on points, and then there's some room for, I want to say, captain's picks. It's still based off points. Right. I could be wrong in this, by the way, so I don't know for sure, but that's generally how it works.
And by points, you're going off the Wagger points, correct?
No, incorrect. Going off of the MGA points.
Oh, okay.
Points, yeah.
Yeah,
if we went off Wagger points, I wouldn't be on the team.
So that's what I was kind of. Okay.
So it's like their season-long points list in terms of how you do in their events. You accumulate X amount of points, so on and so forth.
It's not just their events. Like there's a bunch of regional like invitationals, like the Travis, or a couple weeks ago the Nassau Invitational. There's the Hawkster, Arcola Cup. There's like 15 of them, and all of those generate a different amount of points. Obviously, the MGA events have are the highest points, and then New Jersey Golf Association is on there as well. They basically, anything you play in the Met section, or even like if you play well in a national event like the
USGA qualifier, like a U.S. Open qualifier, USGA,
they
all count towards
points.
Yeah.
So they do a really good job of like encompassing your entire year's play. Unless there's certain things, like if you play in like, not that I would get invited or ever would, but like if you play in the Western Amateur or something like that, I don't think that they might give you points. I don't know. You'd have to petition them for that, but they do a really good job of that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Cool.
Is there one that you haven't won that you want badly?
In the Met area?
Yeah, in the Met area, or even the NJSGA area. Like, is there one that you look at that you say like, God damn it, I want this one?
So that's twofold. I want to win, obviously, most importantly, an MGA major besides the Mid-Am. So I want to win the Ike Met Open or Med-Am. That definitely I want to win. But kind of the elusive one, which I almost, I don't actually mean this, but I almost don't want to play in it anymore, is the fucking New Jersey Amateur. I mean, I've led it going into the final round 2 of the last 3 years and coughed it up or been beaten, whatever you want to call it. This year I was within a shot or 2 and then hit one out of bounds on 18. I finished birdie double to finish my round this year. So, I mean, Jack Wall, great player, earned a victory. But like, just every fucking year, I feel like I finish in the top 5 of that event and just don't win it.
I know. I started doing my research on that tournament specifically. Yeah. Just looking at it. Like, I saw you made even a double eagle in 2021.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, leading going into the final round, and then Celebrity came back and won it. This year, I was following along.
Celebrity played great, shot 64, but I also shot like 75 in the final round.
I know. I didn't want to bring up the negative. I didn't. But I did see that. Like, that is one that I feel like your name, when I kept going back on results tab and checking them, it's like T4, T3, T6, T4, and you're all right there.
Yeah. No, it's funny.
We
have the New Jersey section. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the same reporter covers the New Jersey events like every time. And he brought it up this year after like the final round. And he's like, you got to be happy. Like, another top 5, like you consider you've established yourself as like a top player in New Jersey, like 4 years in a row. And I'm like, no, I'm not fucking happy. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I just lost this event for the 4th straight year. Like, no, I'm not fucking happy right now. And I feel like too often I'm too honest with some of these people after the round. They're like, "So you happy with your round?" I'm like, "No." So I got to work on that for sure.
But that kind of comes back to what we started with, was how do you view your season? You have a bunch of wins, you played some great places, you got some good finishes, and I think that competitive mindset of like wanting to be, you're a fantastic golfer, and you feel like going into a tournament, you feel like you should win it every time. I don't think I'm off in that statement.
No, I don't feel like I should win. Like, I want to win every event. I think it's careless, reckless, whatever you want to call it, to think you're gonna win every event. I mean, look, it's golf. You're gonna have way more bad rounds than you are good ones. You're gonna be displeased with your round more often than you are pleased, and especially if you hold yourself to a high standard. So I'd say 2 years ago ish, when did I win the mid-am? 21. In 21, I qualified for the USAM, my first USGA event ever, and I had played really well that year in general, and then I won the mid-am. And after that year, I'd say I pretty much I showed up to every event thinking, whether it was true or not, that I'm the best player in the field. I can beat anyone in the field. And to put it more accurately, I'd say I showed up to each event thinking there was 5 people in the field that could beat me. And that gave me the mindset that, like, regardless, I'm not finishing outside the top 10. Like, I'm just going to show up, play my game, and I'll be in the top 10 every time. Right. And if you think that way, and it just gives you another level of confidence, or gave me another level of confidence to feel like if I do plan enough events and think that way, there's going to be a win or 2 in there.
Yeah.
And just let the rounds develop, hit the shots, go do it, and good things are going to happen over the course of a season.
That's the Brooks Koepka math, right? You go to a major, he's like, there's 7, 8 guys that can win this.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you've done there.
Yeah, and whether it's true or not, I've convinced myself that, like, that's a good way to go about it. And I may not have the resume or the success as some of the other guys in the event, but each event's a new event, it's a new day, and you're all starting clean. Yeah. So just go out there and hit the shots and see where it goes.
Which kind of leads me to this place specifically. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many people have said to us point blank, like, that place up there is so pure. The views are unreal. The place is, like, beyond nice. Like, what's something, and I guess when you're coming back and getting out of the city and coming to this area, like, why Arcola? Like, why this spot compared to others? Because we know in this area specifically, in this little radius, there are gem after gem after gem. Why this one?
So, Morgan Hoffman has been a member here since he was a kid. He's a good buddy of mine, and he's involved with Grayson. So when I moved into the city in I don't remember when it was. When did I move to the city? 2019, maybe? Either way, I was looking to join a club. I wanted to start playing more, competing, and I'd obviously done business here for a little while with Grayson, but I came out and played with him and then played in his charity outing. And I was like, this place is pure. Just like, I couldn't believe how good it was. The greens here are insane. Like I would put them up against any place in the entire area. And I would say besides Wingfoot, to me, I would say day in and day out, we have the best greens I've ever played on average. I mean, you guys are going to come out here today. Obviously, it's a fall day. Greens are usually pretty great in this time of year, but they'll be 14 and perfect. Like when I first joined here, I 3-putted the 3 or 4 times around for the first 5 rounds because I couldn't believe how fast they were. And so that was something for me. It's a championship layout, which I like. It's not super tight, it's open, but you can't just hit it everywhere. So it's got that versatility. And most importantly, like I said earlier, I'm a range rat, and we have an unreal practice facility, which you don't find really anywhere in the Met area, especially with that kind of radius to the city. And I lived on the Upper West Side, and it was 15 minutes on a Saturday morning to get here. Might take me 45 to get home, but it was 15 minutes door to door to get here. So it was perfect. It kind of checked every box, and it's I wasn't married at the time. I wasn't single, but it's a golf club, and I wanted a golf club more than a country club. I catch a little bit of flack for that from the wife now, but the guys here are awesome, and the playing membership, the golf IQ here is very high, and we have. I think we were talking about this earlier. We have some of the lowest handicaps, or have one of the lowest handicap clubs in the country, and there's a lot of great guys to play with. And I've met a lot of great guys here over the years.
Yeah, that's something. I was doing my research. I saw that this place, even so much, I saw like a little clip from the superintendent of how the course is maintained for that single digit, that championship style golf course.
Paul Dottie, our superintendent here, is an absolute legend. I mean, he has transformed this place into what it is now, and it's nothing short of incredible. And you guys are going to see that. I mean, unfortunately, they started punching the fairways, so you might have to roll your ball over here, but they'll still be pure. Yeah.
Okay. If we find the fairway.
Yeah. That's a big assumption there.
Yeah, and that's what I think. And I think for someone on your level, like when you're looking for, that competitive nature, that environment, that championship style, like seeing all the people that play out of here along with yourself, it's like, wow, okay, it is the cream of the crop, and you could go get a quote like Saturday morning game against really good competition and not feel like I got to give somebody like us like 13 aside and feel like it's kind of like worth your while.
Yeah, no, it's great. There's a lot of, I think we have like 12 guys that are better than scratch. I think something like that. I might be slightly off, but
it's crazy.
It's it's pretty great. And on any given day, you can get a game, and Trevor has become a good friend, and he's a fierce competitor, and he likes to give you some shit and stuff, but he takes it pretty well, and we beat each other up a bit, but. Yeah, there's a lot of good players here.
So let's talk a little bit about your towels.
Oh, the towels.
Yeah, so
it's not my towels. I mean, it's my buddy Mike's startup. It's called No Dirt Golf.
Okay.
He basically during COVID decided to source a manufacturer and produce some towels, and I think he's the first person to ever think of putting a brush on a towel.
I was just going to say, I'm sitting here rubbing it. This is...
Wow.
That's kind of what everyone says.
This is game-changing to the towel game.
No one thought of this?
And you'd think that like towels are just pretty standard, like, towels have been the same for however long.
Yeah.
This is game-changing.
It
really is.
I love the logo, too, to be honest with you. I do.
We changed it a little bit. If you look at the new one, it has a black tab on it that just says No Dirt Golf, so it's a little cleaner on the package ones there. Yeah, but completely custom. We can print basically anything on them for clubs or companies, businesses, outings, stuff like that. So it's been a fun little project, and more importantly, it's just a great way for me to. He moved out to Colorado and now lives in Utah, and it's just a really great way for us to just kind of like shoot the shit, have some fun, and work together.
You know what it is? It's a great caddy towel for people that legit caddy, and they're out there all the time instead of the generic like white bib, more or less, the towel. Like having something like this where it actually would clean the grooves.
That's right.
Is huge.
With minimal effort.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, the fact that I could just cover the iron up and just start scrubbing it while the towel's wet.
Yeah.
Seems to be a no-brainer.
It seems so easy, but no one had really done it yet. So, nodirtgolf.com, and that's the biz.
I like that. So, kind of as a wrap up here, I always like to ask guests, kind of if they had the opportunity to go play a public or a private in the state, excluding here your home at Arcola and then also Pine Valley, because the opportunities that people get to go play there are slim to none. Mm-hmm. Can you give me a public and a private that you'd say you get the chance to go play, you got to go do it?
So we joked around about this earlier, but through grace, and I'm obviously very spoiled with who we do business with, and I have gotten to play and can play quite a bit of places in the area. And like we were saying, I don't know a lot of daily fee places in the area, but I'd say probably public would be Ballyowen at Crystal Springs. I've done business there for a while, and it's unbelievable public golf course. And private's tough. We've got so many good ones. This is going to lead to a funny story, but I qualified for the Met Open in 2020 at Mountain Ridge. I'd say Mountain Ridge is the hidden gem in New Jersey, bar none.
It's crazy. People have said that to us. We talked to Alex Beach, and I swear to God, he swears.
It's fucking sick.
Swears by Mountain Ridge.
Yeah.
Someone else brought up Mountain Ridge too. It might have been Brian Gaffney. He might have also said Mountain Ridge, and I'm like, I guess this is another spot that we got to venture to.
It is so good. So I don't know what I had going on work-wise, but I didn't play a practice round. I just showed up for round one of the Met Open, and I didn't bring a caddy. Got a fucking push cart, and I just like, oh, here we go. And I was blown away. I mean, for the event, they grew the rough out so long, like comical U.S. Open rough, and I can't think of a bad hole out there. And they changed the 18th because of the airport there, and I still think it's a good hole. So I have a hard time thinking of anywhere else. Now, have I played everywhere in the state? No. So could it be wrong there that there's somewhere else? Very much so. I love Balti. One of my best friends is a member there. I play Balti quite a bit and love it, especially the changes Gil did to the lower. But Mountain Ridge, I mean, it's
another popular one.
It really is. Honestly, I would say the two most popular are here and Mountain Ridge. I really would. Because everybody knows, here's the thing, everybody knows Balti. Everybody knows Ridgewood. Everybody knows Plainfield. Somerset Hills. Like these, if you want to talk about like the upper echelon ones, the ones that are ranked in the top 100 in the country, right? Everybody knows those. But like Arcola is not, Mountain Ridge is not, but everybody.
See, I think it's criminal where Arcola and Mountain Ridge are ranked in the state and national rankings.
Right, and that's the theme.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I actually got into a conversation one time on Twitter with a golf.com writer who ranks the New Jersey golf courses. And I said to him, I think your rankings are wrong. And we were having DM after DM going back at each other like, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. Like, here's why. Because I thought some of his things on there were just like inaccurate. Because I feel like there's other spots that you just see the same ones. I feel like they just, recycle, rinse and repeat the same ones every year. I'm like, dude, you haven't played this yet, have you? You're going off some random survey that someone filled out on golfdigest.com.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I'm educated enough in golf course architecture or whatever the ratings are, because I'm not. I don't know how they do it or what the categories are. I just, if I'm showing up and playing a golf course, I would personally arrange their list differently. And that's just, I don't know what it is right now. I can't list them out, but I grew up with friends from the high school I went to. They're members at Somerset Hills. I love Somerset Hills. It's an unbelievable golf course, unbelievable architecture. I would prefer on a daily basis to play more of a championship layout, but I still think it holds where it is. I think it's an unbelievable golf course, and so I'm not taking anything away from there. I'm not taking anything away from Ridgewood, Plainfield, Balti, or any of them. There's so many good golf courses in the state of New Jersey. It's just, I'm spoiled. I get to come here. So when people play here or for the first time, they're just raving about it. I had never, like I said, I'd never played Mountain Ridge, and I showed up and played it, and I was like, I'd done business here. I never knew this place was that good. And I still have people that pros that I do business with from different areas that'll send me a note or I had one the other day, Danny Balin texted me about work and was like, by the way, Arcola is fucking sick. He showed up, he didn't play a practice round, showed up for the Met Open. He was like, this place is awesome. And, I think that just speaks volumes to this place. Yeah. And everyone shows up. A lot of the guys I heard from the U.S. Amateur were like, Arcola was pretty great. Not taking anything away from Ridgewood, but Arcola is pretty special. So, it was awesome.
Yeah. I agree.
So golfers are kind of quirky by nature, and you play such so many tournaments, some competitive golf. What are some, in going to play those competitive rounds, what are some of your quirks that you have going into a golf round that are that make you feel whole? And I'll give you the example of some people are like, I need to have X amount of tees in this pocket, a ball in this one, or I mark my ball specifically. What are some of those? We've heard they don't go, they practice without their shoes tied and they get to the first tee, now they tie their shoes. You got any of those kind of?
Not really. I do tend to keep 3 tees in my pocket. Don't ask me why. And when I break a couple, I feel weird only having 1 in there. So I guess that's a quirk. I never really thought of it. I've marked my...
Stu changed it. Stu, I said quirks originally, and Stu called it habits.
Yeah.
So you could say habits as well. He corrected us.
Yeah, I don't really know. To be honest with you, I don't have any good habits that I would say. I have had random rounds where I play really well with my shoes untied. I shot 61 here this
Untied?
With my shoes untied. Yeah. I was super hungover. It was our July 4th tournament. It was a 4-man team. We were playing from the Whites, and it was a 4-man best ball. And I was playing with 3 buddies here, and I was very hungover. Been out to dinner, drank way too much wine, and I fatted one on the first we started on 10, and then 2 holes later, I made 6 birdies in a row and made 2 eagles on the backside, chipped in a couple times, and I shot 61. And the whole time, my shoes were untied.
I'm gonna try that whole scenario one day.
I think untied shoes is kind of the sneaky winner there.
There you go.
But to be completely honest with you, I haven't put that into practice since. So I don't know.
That's low.
I don't. Yeah, it was.
That's low, dude.
I finished eagle birdie on 8 and 9, and it was hysterical. Our whole group went nuts on.
So you won the tournament by yourself?
No, we actually did not win.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how criminal some handicaps were. We, I think somehow we came in second in both gross and net. I think it made no sense. Because we were counting. I'm not going to name any names, but someone on our team definitely let us down.
They're listening to this and they know who they are.
Yeah, we were counting. I think we had to count the best two, so it wasn't best one ball. So that was the catch. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't know if I have any weird habits.
We'll find out there when we play.
Yeah, they may come out. They're just not coming to mind right now. Yeah.
And then obviously we're a New Jersey golf podcast talking all about New Jersey, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the greatest debate in New Jersey history, maybe in the history of all the world. And that is the name of a particular kind of breakfast meat.
Breakfast what?
Meat.
Oh, okay.
What are you calling that breakfast meat?
Taylor ham.
Okay. This was nice. I'm going to pass on Arcola now.
That's always a question we ask people.
But I'm not from New Jersey. I'm a Connecticut guy.
Right. Yeah. So someone else, maybe it was Tilly.
What's the other?
Pork roll.
Pork roll. That's right.
Pork roll.
Yeah.
So it's right about like the Driscoll Bridge, exit 135, somewhere in there.
So North Jersey goes Taylor ham, South Jersey goes pork roll?
Yeah.
Because I was down at the shore with my wife's family this summer, and they were calling it pork roll. I was like, I don't give a fuck what it is, but it's the best way to have a sandwich.
No doubt. 100% is.
So I will say that.
Yes. And medically proven to be the best hangover cure. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but listen, I can't thank you enough for having us up here today, and
my pleasure.
Giving us some time.
Yeah.
So looking.
Thanks
forward
for having me. Yeah.
100%, Chris. Really looking forward to it.
Let's go to it.
Let's go.
Oh yeah, let's go.